Hi everyone, welcome back to Lisa's Love and Light. Happy Tuesday to you guys. I hope everything is going well and that you guys are having a great day. I am here a little earlier. The I went and took the camera. This this is a Chrome laptop. I went to Walmart to try to see what was going on. So the camera is back on, but I think, guys, what I'm going to do is get a regular laptop because for some reason this one, it's a Chrome. It doesn't connect to my um, printer, my HP printer. I don't know what's going on, but anyway, I have to probably get a new one so that I can print documents and things. So, but I'm here and I'm here earlier and I'm happy about that because I'm really trying to do this time management thing, which is really hard for me. But I'm making some progress, so that's good news, right, guys? So I can't promise I can do this all the time, but I'm going to try to be here a little bit earlier because at the end of the day, it's like, after working and etc., you feel like, but you know, I am going to try to do it earlier because as I do that, I can be on a little bit longer and give you guys more encouragement. So, how are you guys doing today? I'm doing good. Um, just trying to cut down on coffee, um, drink more water, and just I feel better since having that bad cold. You guys know I was like coughing and choking and all that stuff. So it feels good to be better. Not 100% yet, but better. So with that being said, guys, keep in mind, excuse me, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a social worker or a counselor. Just someone who talks about ways that I've overcome these crazy trials and tribulations and challenges and how I got through these things. Because not everybody gets through them. Some people succumb to it, etc. But what kept me going was God and knowing that I didn't deserve these things that was happening. It's got to be a reason for it. And after going through it for a little bit, I realized through by using a different mindset, looking at things from a different perspective, that these was unlearned lessons in my case. And if you guys are experiencing this, learn a lesson so that you can shut the door and not repeat the same cycle. Because when that cycle comes back around and that will spin again, it's worse than ever. And the last time the wheel spin, I was on all fours, because I needed to see situations as they are and not what I wanted them to be, you know. Like I said, you can bring people to the water, but you can't make them to drink. You can't make them drink. They have to make that decision themselves. So, um, you know, it's just life is a learning experience. Once we learn lessons, we can close those doors and then we can start to enjoy and live our life instead of just existing in this world. So, the topic of discussion today, guys, is you have the right to close doors to toxic situations. You have the right to close doors to toxic situations, guys. Um, you have the right to close doors to toxic and abusive situations. We have the right. Let me paraphrase. We have the right to close doors to toxic and abusive situations. We all have the right to heal and choose ourselves. Never allow anyone to take your right to make your own decisions away from you. Never hand your power over to your oppressor or to someone who's toxic and who wants to see you jump, skip, and hop like a puppet on a string. You know, people who envy you, people who are jealous of you, people who gossip and tell malicious lies about you. When you see these things, don't make excuses for it. Believe what you see because it is a lesson, and that's what I had to learn. You know, you can't unsee what when you see something, believe it. Set boundaries in order to focus on self care and your healing. Because if you got toxicity at your front door, sitting at your table, or anywhere in your space, then you're you have to redirect that focus from self care to the toxicity. What I did is made vows to God, stay in prayer with Him, and gave the toxicity and the burdens to Him so that I could stay focused on my self care and self healing. And that wasn't easy because I kept tripping and falling over the situation. And then one day I was able to do it, as painful as it is. Now, you're going to experience pain, guys, no doubt about that. But once you get through the pain, and you address the elephant in the room. You take the bull by the horns, look at it. Okay, I'm going to feel this pain. I'm going to allow myself to feel this so that I can get through it. You're going to have days of where you feel sad, depressed, or even grief. I had those days last about a week and a half ago, especially when I got sick from shoveling the snow. The grief, and it comes upon you like no tomorrow. And after I let myself feel that for 2 days, I got up and just said, God, I no more. I have to, get through this. Because the grief of losing parents, losing any loved ones, but your parents, it makes you feel like an orphan, especially when you used to talking to your parents once or twice a week, like in my case. My father's been gone a while, but my mother's been here. And just, it's no more. So guys, tell your loved ones that you love them. Show them that you appreciate them, because tomorrow might be too late. So I don't take anything for granted in my life today. And that's another lesson I learned. I don't take people, situations, circumstances for granted anymore, because life is too precious and too short. And tomorrow isn't promised to us. I had to set boundaries so that I can self-care and heal. And my therapist used to always say that to me. And I used to be afraid. It took me a while to do that because of abandonment issues. Oh, people are not going to like it. They're going to want to walk away, and they're going to say this and that. They already think there's something wrong with me, and etc. And I had to really heal those things. Why did I feel this way? What led to A, B, C, and D? And then once I really look at the elephant in the room that was growing and growing, it was so big, there was no room for the both of us. One of us had to go. So I've laid the elephant to rest, so to speak, guys, because I address it, allow myself to be on my knees, on all fours sometimes, to feel the pain, and then to let it go and let God. Let go of it. Give it to God so that I can now take care of me. And what I learned through the whole process so far is who was there for me and who wasn't there for me. And I didn't want to see that, because a lot of it was family. Family is supposed to be our foundation. It's supposed to be our rock. But many people don't have that because it's toxic as hell. At least in my case it was. Always toxicity. There's always some drama, some negativity, some jealousy, some envy, some malicious lies or gossip. And it was just cycles of that repetitively. And I had to get to the point where I had to address those things and then close doors, because when people want to keep the drama going and the negativity and blah, blah, no, I'm not going to ride that wheel of toxicity anymore. If you choose to stay on it, is what I would say, so be it. But I'm off this ride right now, and I choose me. And sometimes that's what you have to do. And the reason why I'm talking so strongly about this, because these things, people, affect your mental and physical health. I had a situation, my weight was going up and down, hair falling out, having all types of health problems because of dealing with toxic people, family, and negative situations, and making excuses for it far too long, until I had to look at the elephant in the room, address it. And then to love myself enough to know that I didn't deserve any of this. These are their problems. These are their burdens. Remember I talked about in a few videos, excuse me, a little, I don't know, a few weeks ago about carrying other people's burdens? Let people carry their own burdens. You know, you're not responsible for somebody else's mess. And I used to always feel, oh, I can help them. I can change the situation for the better. You can't change anything. A person has to have that desire within them to be able to want to change for the better. You can, like I said, you can bring people to the water, but you can't make them drink. They have to make that decision themselves. You can't make these decisions for folks who want to stay knee deep into toxicity. So I decided to leave them there. No more arguing, no more drama, no more anything. You want to stay there at the bottom of the barrel and that, I'll leave you at it. And then I'm going to go over here and set boundaries and go on a healing journey. And therapy was my first thing that I decided to do. And then everything else, came thereafter. But it didn't, these things don't come with a book of instructions on, okay, let's open up to page whatever to learn however. It doesn't happen like that. I stayed in prayer a lot, and I started to figure it out after my therapist gave me a pro and con list to do of what people are bringing to the table, to my table, and what I'm bringing to theirs, and see if it, equals. And most of the time it didn't. So I had to set those boundaries in those cases. So that's why it's important to set boundaries, because if you don't, then the toxic individuals and circumstances will keep creeping up over and over and over again. And as that happens, then you can't stay focused on self-care and healing. This is why it's important to set those boundaries. And some people are not going to like it. And you may lose people to the point where they would just, and that was the hurtful part. But I had to see these folks and situations for what they are, and not a mirage of what I wanted it to be. So never be ashamed of your pain, grief, or drama. Those are scars I wear, and I talk about it, because if I didn't go through those experiences, I would have never ever be the person I am today. What doesn't destroy you, I promise will make you stronger. Like I talk about all the time in these videos, and I will always reiterate this. People, circumstances, and situations come into our life, sometimes over and over again, for a reason, a season, a lifetime, or a lesson. Unlearned lessons will repeat itself. Different characters, same scenario, until we learn the lesson. And then those doors get closed and padlocked, and we can move on to something better. So I learned to talk openly. It took a long time. I would never think that I would be on a channel, YouTube, talking about these type of things. But these things changed my life for the better. I mean, it wasn't easy. It's like being in the water. You swim or you drown, and I had to learn to feel the pain, get through it, and keep moving forward. The key factor for me was perseverance, diligence. Don't give up. Yeah, the noises around me and blah, blah, etc. Keep the focus on myself, healing, and God, and prayer. Because like I said, what does not destroy you will make you stronger. And it will also make you look at life and situations from a different perspective. Guys, always from a different perspective. And I had to do that. Because, when you lose a lot of people in your life that you really love, and they love you and they're no longer here, it changes you guys. Sometimes we have to go through or give up something in order to gain something. That's what I've learned also so far on this journey, this healing journey. When I let go of the pain and made some decisions to let go of what no longer serves me, or what is no longer for my highest good, my life changed for the better. This was very painful, guys. It wasn't easy, because there were people in my life who I thought meant everything to me, but I didn't mean anything to them. And as I did the work in therapy and sat down and did that pro and con list, I cried my eyes out. I don't know how many, I could have cried a river, guys. That, when I looked at, I was being used like a doormat because of being subservient. And when people think you're kind and gentle and nice, they think you're naive. There's nothing naive about me. I prefer to be that and be the light, but I can also, be a person where I just cut you off and don't recognize you anymore and wish you good, wish you all the best. I'm not at a point now where I'm chasing. And that was the biggest part of the lesson I had to learn, to stop chasing. If someone doesn't want to be around you, whether it's a romantic connection and they tell you they don't want this anymore, you may try, especially if you've been with that person for a minute and you want to try, okay, let's talk about it, let's do therapy, and they don't want any of that, you have to let that person go. And if it's family, whatever it is, and they are determined that they don't want you in your life, as painful as it is, and it could be knee-deep pain, you have to, at some point, you try to work it out, etc. But if they are determined that they don't want you in their life, you have to let them go. And yes, it's painful. It was not easy for me, but I had to let it go. However, guys, keep in mind, nothing ventured is nothing gained. Also, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. Don't make excuses for it, like I did. I used to make excuses for it all the time. My therapist would just look at me, and then he would just say these words: do a pro and con list, do a pro and con list, so that I can see what was coming to my table, what I was bringing and what they were bringing. And I had to let go. And in many cases, I didn't have to let go, because when I set those boundaries, people were stepping over them, disrespecting them, dismissing them. And so I had to dismiss them. Cut off, block, and delete is what I had to do. But as you see things from a different perspective and you continue to stay on a path to heal and grow, by self-care. And self-care is music, flowers, going to that favorite restaurant, spending time alone in nature. And when you spend time alone in nature and prayer, you get clarity about situations in your life that you probably wouldn't have even had the clarity if you didn't take the time for that. And this is what I learned: to be patient, to look, understanding people and situations, and not judging others, but knowing that I don't want toxicity or abuse in my life, and I choose to close the door on that. And the key factor of this video, guys, is to let you know you have a choice in a matter. You don't have to stay chained to situations that bring pain, abuse, and negativity and toxicity in your life. You don't deserve that. You have a right to close doors that bring negative things to your life, because all these things that I've talked about in this video will affect your mental and physical health. And that's the first thing you want to take care of, because without that, you can't take care of yourself or anybody else or anything around you if your mental and physical health is not okay. So yes, you do matter, and you should come first, especially when it comes to these situations. It is better to be at a place of inner peace, guys, than to be broken down into pieces. Excuse me. That's the message today, guys. Share this video with other people, because like I always say, everyone doesn't communicate their pain, their feelings, what they're going through. But if they can stop by here and watch these videos, it can uplift them and encourage them so that they can never be at a place of despair. And also take a look at the links that I've added at the bottom of this video, and look at that, because like I said, I use a humidifier. I suffer sometimes with sleepless nights, sinus, blah blah. So I brought some lavender essential oil, and I put that in the humidifier, and guys, I sleep like a baby now. Everybody's different, whatever you may be going through, but take a look at those links and see if it's something that you might be interested in. And thank you for showing up again and subscribing to the channel, guys. Continue to invite others to do the same. And I'll see you guys sometime tomorrow. This is Lisa shedding love and light. You guys have a good evening and good day, rather. It's still early, right, guys? And I'll see you sometime tomorrow. This is Lisa shedding love and light. Guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.